Friendly listeners, we are bringing you another very special episode of Coast to Coast Pinball here tonight. I've never had, in an official capacity, an interview with someone who worked at Stern Pinball. We've had Gary on the show. We've had a couple designers on the show here and there. We've been part of panels at Coast to Coast Pinball that had Stern employees on the show, certainly. But we've never done an actual interview with someone from Stern, and that changes right here. Very excited to bring you an episode with Jody and Jared from Stern Pinball here on episode 170 of Coast to Coast Pinball. Let's go. Welcome to Coast to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast of commentary, and I am a man out of quarters. Really looking forward to this episode. Got the opportunity to speak with Jody Dankberg and Jared Gwines from Stern Pinball. We cover all sorts of topics, stuff that's been emailed to me before, and people, wondering out loud, hey, what's up with this? Things I've thought about, things that I've seen posted on websites about, and then obviously we talk about KISS Pinball and the launch of KISS and the new social media directions that the company is taking. It's a big time for Stern Pinball. They've moved into their new facility for manufacturing. They're cranking out games that are doing very well. There's excitement around the company. Pinball is still in an upswing, and it's good times. So without further ado, let's jump into this special interview here with Jody Dankberg and Jared Gwines. I would like to welcome to Coast Pinball from Stern Pinball, Jody Dankberg and Jared Gwines. Gentlemen, welcome. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
Okay, that's Jody. Now, Jared.
I'm doing epic.
You're epic. Well, of course you are.
I think that's my response. And also, this is the first time I've ever been introduced as an official member of Stern Pinball, which I like that.
Yeah, congratulations. So, for those of you guys who don't know listening, Jody, what is your official role, title, and duties at Stern Pinball?
Well, I am the Director of Marketing and Licensing at Stern Pinball. So I oversee, all the marketing activities, social media activities, licensing, compliance, contracts, all sorts of stuff. I'll even be your tour guide if you come by.
Beautiful. And Jared, you are newly employed with Stern Pinball. Talk about your new title.
So my official position with Stern is a social media manager. So working in concert with Jody, specifically on all the social media from, Facebook to Instagram to Twitter to YouTube. And then also started working on graphic design with Jody as well. So that's not necessarily in the social media hat, but, I do graphic design, and there's a lot of graphics that Stern needs, some of them casual, some of them really important, and I could help out with that. I could help with the load. So, you might have seen some graphics on Facebook already, like, for example, like the Walking Dead shooter knob, stuff like that, where, we don't need to spend 5 hours doing graphic design, but we also don't need to just put up a cell phone picture either. So I'm doing that.
That's awesome. Congrats. So, Jody, talk about this shift that I think the community has seen, where Stern went from sort of I wouldn't say hands-off, but definitely a more reserved approach to social media. It was sort of on a sporadic basis that we would get, info and photos and videos, to this new kind of movement with Jared behind the helm, where we're getting tons of content, lots of video, and really kind of awesome behind-the-scenes look into what you guys are doing there.
Absolutely, and Jared, I want to say so far Jared's doing a phenomenal job, and we're very impressed with Jared's skills of what he does and what he can bring to the table, and that's why we were excited to work with him. As I came into this company in the end of 2009 as part of the group that came in, Dave Peterson, who is Gary's partner, venture capitalist, brought me in. Again, I come from a different industry, and what we focused on the past 6 years is making Stern a whole company again. Also expanding our product offerings, improving marketing, licensing, what things that might have been lacking in the past, and again, there's a lot of moving parts, and social media, as we do recognize, is a great tool to do it. I think to engage your community properly is a full-time type of commitment. And up until this point, we just didn't invest in resources to do that full-time. And so now we've made a conscious effort to get me some help and get that situation so it has full-time attention all the time.
Jared, did you seek this role out? How did you wind up doing this? It seems like kind of a ready-made position for you.
Oh man. Well, and let me be clear. This is what I do for a living. So managing social media and being on Facebook and doing this stuff, I literally do it for a living. Stern certainly become my favorite people that I do this for, and probably the most involved because so many people ask questions. But I have a handful of companies, mostly based here in North Texas where I live, that I do this stuff for. So I don't know if I could say, I'm a professional at it. I can't say that. I'm good at it. I'm a professional, and I'm on Facebook all the time. So it's natural for me to sort of recognize opportunities when I see them and sort of see holes, I guess. And and I won't tell anyone otherwise. I'm newish to the hobby. There's sort of this big upsurge in 2011, 2012, kind of like you were talking about to Ed. Around the time like Tron and X-Men came out. You started seeing all these new guys come out. So I was on the tail end of that surge and got into the hobby in 2012. And immediately when I got into pinball and hopped on Pinside and started looking around, I see things I like, things I don't like, things that I think I could change. And I always saw Stern as the leader in pinball manufacturing and creation. And then when I was over on their Facebook page, I thought, they could have, or I'd see some comment, or I'm like, or I think what really pushed me was whenever WWE came out and everyone's clamoring for gameplay video. And I'm like, any minute they're going to post it, Yeah. And then it ended up being...
Sorry, Jared, but what you missed is we did post the first gameplay video from CES. You just didn't. You missed it.
Yeah, Jared, I saw it.
No, all right, good point. all right. No,
well, I think to Jared's point, though, he saw a lot of great opportunities at Stern, and he is a social media expert. And again, this year we put in our budget and made a conscious decision to focus on social media. So we interviewed about 10 different companies in Jared's field, and we narrowed it down. We narrowed it down to about 10 guys, and then narrowed that down to about 3 different companies, and then Jared fit the mold perfectly. So as you can see, he's doing a phenomenal job, and as you can see, it is a full-time job.
So Nate, yes, there was an audition process, but I wasn't even necessarily aware that I didn't find out till later how many different companies and people that they were considering for this. I just sort of got an email from Jody. He's like, "Hey, would you be interested in this?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, send me a proposal and we'll talk about it." And that literally took months.
Well, I think it's a really good move on Stern's part as an outsider looking in to bring somebody who's already in this scene and knows this scene, because it is a niche hobby. As much as we obsess and love it, not a lot of people know the intricacies and kind of the feel of it. So I think it's been a great move, and that's been paying off, obviously, as we've seen on
your point. Yeah, and you're absolutely right, Nate, is that Jared, unlike any of the other candidates, is a pinballer.
Yeah.
And is intimate with the community, intimate with the knowledge of what's going on, and that goes a long way of having him be one of our frontline soldiers.
What's this year been like for the company? I know you guys just moved to the new factory. You're changing social media. Things seem really hot right now. The KISS launch we'll get into in a little bit. It's been a big deal. What's this year going like for Stern?
It's been a phenomenal year, and I can't believe it's already it's going to be June.
Halfway done.
Halfway through.
Done already.
We're 2 titles, actually 3 titles in this year, because we did WWE, Wonelli, and and now the KISS launch. We have a few more titles to go this year. The move has been, it was a big move, but well worth it. Nate, if you ever get a chance to come to Chicago and check out the new place, it is phenomenal. It's a state-of-the-art facility, and we've upped our production capabilities, and it's just a really great work environment. And everything's great. We got a lot of really cool stuff on the horizon, and we're really excited.
Nate.
Jared.
Did you hear what he said?
I heard.
Did you hear the word few?
I heard few. I actually wrote it down.
That means more than one.
More than one. I think that brings up a good point. Just what we just said right there. Stern, more so than any other company in this industry, the rumor mill, the speculation, the frenzy that gets worked up. As soon as we hear about a new title, within a day, somebody's posting on Pinside, what do you think the next game's going to be? Mm-hmm. What's that like internally? Do you guys does that stress you out, or do you just kind of smile and laugh?
There's a lot of laughing.
There's a lot of laughing going on. I think it's part of the fun, the speculation. Again, we work on a business model where we promote what we're making and we sell what we're making. We're not on a pre-order type of model. Mm-hmm. We're not on a crowdfunding type of model. We do keep things close to our chest via when we're doing the product development process. Because, again, we are the leaders in this industry. We ship 99.9% of all games in the world. We're the leader in commercial pinball. We have no competition on a commercial level. So again, you have a few niche boutique companies. Some of them put out some really nice products, but it's a hard business. It's a manufacturing business, and you know this, Nate, because you come from a manufacturing type of industry.
Absolutely.
That no matter what you're making, whether it's guitars or pinballs or whatever kind of widget it is, it's a manufacturing business first, and that's not always the for some people it's the fun part, but for a lot of people, coming up with cool ideas and designing a game is the fun part, but being able to bring that vision to life and deliver it to as many people as possible is the real trick.
Absolutely. That's lost on a lot of people sometimes. I think that how important the actual building of the game is.
Again, everybody, you need that yin and yang, though. You need the creative types, and you need the business types, and you need the manufacturing types. And I got to tell you, here at Stern, we have so many skilled people in so many different disciplines, and I don't think people realize the symphony of people that go into making a game. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. I know you have some questions about what makes a good design team and stuff like that.
Yeah. Let's talk. Oh, go ahead, Jared.
Well, I was going to say, you mentioned speculation. I think that's one of the fun parts of the hobby for a collector and for an enthusiast is wondering and daydreaming and sort of, wishing out loud and doing that in a public forum where other people can be like, yeah, I wish for that too. There's something that's sort of rewarding and therapeutic about that, so I love speculation. I'm a big fan of it. I do it myself. Jody doesn't necessarily tell me everything, not because he couldn't, but because it's fun for him. It's fun for him to know something that I don't know.
Sure.
It's just fun. And sometimes I don't want to know all the details, and I like that. I like the excitement. If Jody literally laid out everything that he has planned between now and the end of 2016, I might get excited for I don't know, a day or two, but I'm like, oh man, now I know everything. So I kind of like that there's going to be curveballs, and that people, instead of expecting a specific title, they should just expect a surprise, and that's fun.
I agree completely, and I've run into that with this show. As it's spread a little bit, I get more and more people feeding me quote insider information, and sometimes it kind of spoils it for me because it's not as much of a surprise, or I feel weird about talking about it, speculating because maybe I know something. So I agree. I think the surprise aspect is a lot of fun with our industry and the new titles that Stern puts out.
I think the same goes for some other industries too. I'm a big pop culture fan, movie fan, and whatnot, and now we know everything that's happening with the movie before it ever, sees the light of day. If you just follow Geek Tyrant, you know everything that's going on every production of every cool, superhero movie, and it's
the entire script leaks, and then you could criticize it.
It's kind of neat to go to the movies and be surprised,
Yeah, that's funny you say that. I was just looking at some posts this morning, and there were set pictures of one of the WWE wrestlers is in the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that's not coming out for a year and a half or whatever. And that was,
a cool cameo to pop up in the movie and be like, oh, that's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't need to know anything specific here, but has there been a point at all where the speculation and the kind of the crowd buzz for a title brought that title to the attention of Stern and you, and where you thought, oh, okay, maybe we should look at that as a possible title?
I would say that it's on the radar. Myself and a couple other team members are very well versed in what's going on in the entertainment world, and we have a lot of relationships. We've been doing licensing here at Stern for over 30 years, and so we have relationships with pretty much every person that wants to license something. So we pretty much know what's on the radar of pop culture before anybody else as well from that. So we have a good idea of what we want to do. It's always nice to see, what the crowd may or may not like. But, if you listen to the crowd, AC/DC is a turd. Kiss sucks. Metallica, that'll never make a good pinball machine.
And those become some of your most popular titles.
Yeah, again, you kind of gotta. We're the leaders in this industry. We've been doing it for a long time. Not every one of our games is a smash runaway hit, but we make fun games. Every one of our games is successful in some respect, and I think there are strategic reasons why we pick titles as well. A good example would be title that people say is a dog, who I've heard is not so great, but which is a phenomenal title, and we keep selling to this day, is Ford Mustang.
Yeah,
which we've sold more pros on Ford Mustang than some other famous titles that you would think. It's a game that keeps on giving. And again, the partnership with Ford Motor Company was phenomenal for pinball, and still is. They have a bank of 10 machines they take to every auto show in the world. They did phenomenal PR around the launch of the 50th anniversary of their Mustang, and coinciding with the pinball, and introducing a lot of new people to pinball awareness, which is cool. Another title like that, which you're going to see some really cool co-marketing with, is the WWE. We just shot a lot of cool video footage with them and some of the wrestlers, and Gary playing pinball, and
it's going on the network.
And it's going on the WWE network tomorrow night, and it's like, hey, that exposes over 1.5 million people to pinball that maybe have never seen it before. And again, as the leaders of the pinball industry, it's our responsibility to bring pinball awareness back. A lot of people still say, "Oh wow, pinball! I didn't know they make that still. Where do you play, or where can I buy one?" And we want to change that. We want to change that conversation to, "Oh yeah, did you see the latest Stern at the bar or the arcade?"
Definitely. What has
I think that sorry.
No, go ahead, man.
I think that people, especially in the pinball community, they forget or don't believe how large the rest of the world is in terms of pinball ownership and interest. Just because they're not online posting about it every day doesn't mean they're not buying them for their house or that they're not interested in them. And it's not just a little bit. It literally dwarfs the collector pinball community by many, many, many multitudes. So it's easy to be on a website and believe that we decide what's good or not, or what's popular or not, or whatever. When in fact there are sometimes thousands and thousands of other owners who either just don't have any interest in getting online, or they don't have time, or they don't speak English.
Yep.
Or whatever the case is. There's a lot of pinball going around, and there's a reason that.
Good point about the English too, there, Jared. We export 50% of our games outside of the United States.
I think a lot of people don't even know that. 50% of the games don't even stay in this country.
I was talking with Gary at, I think, Midwest Gaming Classic about that number, and he told me there, which, I think people also forget, is that 50% that goes outside the United States, a large portion of that is not going into people's houses. Those are route machines. Those are to go make money.
On location. Our Pro model, which is our core product, which we sell the most of, and which is what this business is based on. It's heavy in export. And what's great is the past couple of years, we've seen the trend of location pinball coming back here in the States. And that's really exciting as well.
That definitely is. Has there been any sector of entertainment or licensing that's been more difficult to get into pinball, or are companies and IP holders pretty open to working with Stern?
It depends. We're fortunate enough. We make a really, really cool product. A lot of licensors look at it as a very cool marketing piece or a very cool trophy. I always tell the story. J.J. Abrams says, when you get your own pinball machine, you've made it, right?
That's awesome.
And again, the guys in Metallica who I was close with before I came to this industry, and same with Kiss as well. They're not, they're not doing it for they're not doing it for the money. They're doing it for the love of the product and what a cool opportunity is to be part of pop culture in that way. Again, we're just really fortunate to have relationships with a lot of IP holders, and there's a lot of people that want to have pinball machines made. Again, there's certain licenses that maybe you go after that these people haven't shown interest in pinball. We've done that with. There's been plenty of games where people haven't come to us, but we've gone to them and done deals with them. But again, it's kind of like a relationship. It's always fun when the two people come together with a mutual interest in doing something.
Very cool. Let's talk about Kiss. I think that this long-rumored game, lots of history in pinball. Obviously, it's sort of an iconic game from the late 70s. What was getting them back on board to do a new game like, and when did that conversation start for you guys internally?
Well, I think one of the reasons I was brought onto this company was because of my relationships in the music industry, and since I've come on, we've done quite a few music titles, and so I think Kiss had always been on the radar. I know Gary, when I first met Gary 6 years ago, he had told me he had met with Gene at some point, and they just they didn't come to an agreement. But Gene wanted he met Gene Simmons at the Simpsons party or something when remember when we did the Simpsons pinball, and Gene said, "Oh, we'll do a pinball machine," and I just don't think everything connected at the time, but after we got AC/DC, Metallica under our belts, I felt good enough to approach management and say, "Hey, look, we have the proven model here, and we want you guys to be a part of it." And it was relatively pain-free process. They are, I will say, they have been one of my favorite licensors to work with. They have been just absolute perfection and as far as everything from negotiating the deal to providing assets to approving assets to promoting the product from top to bottom. And we're just getting started with them. The game just came out, and we have the license for many years, and it's exciting when you have that symbiotic relationship there.
Jared, what's this been like as a first kind of project out of the gate for you to promote, and what's the reaction been like? I've seen all the videos, and it's pretty cool.
Well, I picked a good time to come on, didn't I?
Yeah.
I mean, it's it really helps. It really helps me do my job that we're right in the middle of an exciting product launch. So not all the time is there a brand new pinball machine to talk about with gameplay videos and all this great stuff, but whenever I came on, I said, hey, let's show everything. They're going to see it. They're going to see it anyways. They're going to see it in a matter of weeks or a month by the time that we announce a game. Let's show them. And they're like, cool, we're in. Let's do it. And
to Jared's point, it's not that we didn't want to do that before. So
right.
We didn't have the bandwidth to be
exactly
showing everything and then engaging the community with it. You know what I mean? And so it's like, hey, now that we have an extra body to throw at it, why not?
Yeah, see, Nate, that's something that I think a lot of people misconceived. You know, I think people thought, oh, Stern's holding back from me or whatever. And then when I've gotten in here and figured out is that it wasn't that they were holding back. It's that there just is not enough hands and feet in this giant factory with all this stuff going on to do every little detail like that. So that's why it was, I think, important to get someone like me plugged into the role so that way we could grasp this and go crazy with it. So KISS, I'm so excited about it because of the theme and because the artwork. I mean, goodness gracious, I love the artwork. You know, if I could somehow press a button at Stern and make all the games going forward hand drawn or something, I would love to do that. But I think that just people really respond to the way that the package is assembled with the iconic pop bumpers and you know, one of the most famous pinball machines ever made, and it's sort of like a reimagining, an updated, you know, latest and greatest kind of version of it. And to see the KISS Army kind of come out and embrace this and really be excited about it is cool too, because there's so many people, as you see with music pinballs and all the licensed pinballs, you see those fan bases who are not a part of the pinball community coming out and getting really excited about it. And one thing I could tell you is when we released the first gameplay video, we actually got that shared on the official KISS fan page. Okay,
that's big.
And well, let me tell you how big it is. It's their fan page is 12.2 million people, and so whenever they shared it there, all of a sudden the video goes up 10,000 views, 20,000 views, 50,000 views. Now it's at 100,000 views. Next thing I know, and I haven't checked on it recently, I could pull it up and see, but it's way over, 150,000 views, and it's been shared thousands of times. So yeah, it's got 168,000 views, and that's a result of our partner KISS telling their fan base about this product and taking it way further than we could go on our own, you know, and as a result, pinball gets to go further than it can go on its own. And that's why, you know, people will say, oh, well,
we strive for this every time.
It's strategic.
Is we want to drive pinball farther.
What do you think the responsibilities, I don't know if that's the right word, but what is the role that Stern is taking in sort of growing, not just building and selling more games, but growing the, quote, the hobby or the idea of pinball out there in the world?
I think it weighs heavily on our shoulders.
Yep.
It's our livelihood. It's what we do for a living. It's what everybody here has done for a living for 30, 40 years. I mean, you talk about a pinball museum, the people walking around this place are a pinball museum.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we have all these Hall of Fame game designers, all these Hall of Fame programmers, Gary Stern, who's him and his father have been pioneers in the pinball industry. You have people working in the factory that are building pinball machines for literally decades. Our art director is one of the most famed pinball artists of all time. The responsibility of pinball is we are pinball, and like I said, pinball awareness is my number one marketing priority, is letting more and more people outside of our little box know about what we do, where to play, how to play, where to buy, all that type of fun stuff, how to, instructional videos of, this pinball can be kind of difficult, pinball could be, very daunting. And, so we're, again, getting more kids involved, all sorts of stuff.
Nate, we have to do that because, it's the future. It's the end game, getting people interested and excited and passionate about pinball prolongs it for all of us. And And Stern literally has the most resources to do that compared to anyone else. So they've kind of taken the burden on themselves to push it.
We're very strategic with our partnership with the International Philipper Pinball Association, which you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Who have just exploded competition pinball in the past 5 years. They've just done such a phenomenal job, and we work closely with them to, again, get more people out playing pinball, and that's what it's all about. And you never meet somebody who doesn't like pinball, right? You always talk about pinball, they get a smile on their face, right? And so it's we're very fortunate in that respect.
How is competition pinball viewed internally at Stern versus like just your casual collector who's buying the game and just playing for the fun of it? Does that weigh on you guys at all, like when you're designing and marketing?
Yeah, we have 3 market segments that we serve. We serve our commercial business, we serve our enthusiast collector business, and then you have your casual rec room homeowner, right? And some people cross over to multiple categories. Some people just sit in one category. But again, our main core business is the commercial location pinball, and that's, we believe, we want to see more competitive pinball on location. And so we're heavily driven to create games that are fun to play, compelling to novices, but also compelling to those competitive players, and games that are mean. It's no fun to watch a guy play pinball for 45 minutes. I've
seen it.
And we want to design games that are mean and gives someone who's maybe not the best in the world a chance at beating the best in the world. Pinball is about skill, but it's also about chance. The ball is wild, Harry Lynn said.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's been an interesting part of pinball, I guess probably the past 10 years or so, 15 years, where the folks designing the games, the game designers, have become celebrities to the pinball world. And, you guys have 3, really 4, if you count George into this, 4 of the all-time greats working at the company. How is that? How do you think that drives maybe the marketing? How should it drive the marketing? Should there be more of the designer involved? What are your thoughts on the designer's role in the game after he's designed the game?
That's a great question. And what I want to express is, yes, we have some very talented leaders here and some Hall of Fame rock star status leaders here in our programming department and in our design department. But I want to stress that we build in teams, right? There's a team of people that are involved in the pinball machine from the beginning to the end. There'll be a lead designer and a lead programmer, but there are dozens of people working under them, making things happen. And I think that might get lost on a lot of people. What's fun about the different designers is that they all have their cool, unique styles. They all have their cool, unique work styles of how they get to where they're, the end product. That's really entertaining to watch. But again, there's over 100 people that make it so a pinball machine can hit the assembly line, and then there's a few hundred more people that make it ship out the door. So it's hard to focus just on one guy. I will say though, that our designers are fantastic in going out and speaking in public on behalf of the company at a bunch of shows. But yeah, a designer's work is not done when he's done making the game, not only from a promotion standpoint, but also from, our designers are heavily involved on the assembly line when their games are shipping, working with the teams out there, making sure that their vision or what they intend it to be is what goes in that box and ships out. So, it's important that it's important to have those guys with the veteran knowledge, but it's also they couldn't do anything without their team.
Yeah, well put. Let's talk about code and rules, because that's been kind of a buzz in the industry for the past while. And
sure.
I think that Stern, and I've said this, I think Stern takes a little bit of heat unfairly over the whole, lack of code at ship time, just because it is a manufacturing business. It is a business based on building something and getting it out the door. And I wonder, and maybe you can clarify this, the timelines just don't add up and probably can't add up to have every rule done in the game the day it ships under the way Stern's set up.
Nate, I got to tell you, in an ideal utopian world where the guys had unlimited resources and unlimited time to make these games, we would want them to ship, as complete as possible when they first ship. And I can guarantee you this, Nate, the designers and the programmers would still have more stuff they would want to put in it.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So it's designing a game design, game rules, game code, game forum. It's an iterative process as well. Sometimes you go down a path and it might not be the path that you intended, or the path that, that path leads you to some place where you don't like and you want to change that path. Sometimes you find things that work better than other things. Sometimes when games get out in the real world, it's almost it's a good beta test to find out what needs to be tweaked. But I will tell you, in 2015, Nate, we are not pinball is not the only industry. We're not unique to this issue, and whether you call it an issue or not, we all have computers and iPhones and applications that continually update. We have a state-of-the-art refrigerator at home that just updated.
Yeah,
that was weird. My car updated the other day.
We've certainly seen it in the video game world too. Some of the biggest titles in video games need massive updates right away.
Absolutely. So again, it's part of us trying to expand our product development times. But I will tell you, I don't think a game will ever be done in a game designer's eyes. What is done, right? What is, and then there's the other question is, what is fun, right?
Yes.
What's fun for Nate might not be fun for Jared, might not be fun for me, but who's right? What brand of guitar do you like? Well, I like a Fender, or I like a Gibson. Well, who's right? Nobody really. I like chocolate, I like vanilla. Well, Jared's right because he likes strawberry. It's, again, fun to the eye of the beholder. And so that, again, it depends on, where do you draw the line?
I kind of agree, and I think that one thing that has been missed by some people is we're getting these games now. When you look at AC/DC or you look at Metallica, for instance, and now with this new Walking Dead update, you're getting games with these really complex and intricate and very smart rule sets that didn't exist back in the Bally Williams days, because those games did kind of ship with what they were going to have, and you didn't get the player base, the top players in the world feeding back into the programmers, and that second chance to go in and say, oh yeah, let's do this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also what you have is a lot of our programmers are competitive pinball players.
Yes, I've lost to them. They've beat me. That is true.
So it's like, when you have competitive pinball players designing pinball games, you're gonna get a really cool insight on to the game, and I think that's one of the luckier or the cooler things about Stern is that we have everyone here is a player, man, and we do this, and we're not a bunch of guys who are hobbyists. This is what we do, and from going out at night to playing pinball at the bars to coming to work in the morning and making fun games.
Nate?
Yes, sir.
I think it's important, for people to remember and realize that pinball machines built in the 90s were never intended to be put in someone's home. They were intended to make money quickly and the games be over within a span of 4 to 10 minutes. And you could roll a lot of those games and something like 8 to 15 minutes if you were a talented player, and that's it. You've gotten to the end of the code. The game is over, and it just starts over at the beginning of the modes again and repeats. And that was at the height of pinball was making a lot of money in those days with those super shallow games. And so the market has changed over time, where now people are owning games for months or years and playing them constantly, daily, nightly, like never before. So pinball, it's different than it was.
That's a good point. There's never been more pinball in the home than ever before. And there's never, and again, so to Jared's point, you got people playing on free play for a long time, and you got people growing up with pinball in the home. It's a great thing, but again, it goes back to what we just talked about, Nate, on the 3 market segments. One size doesn't fit all. And so we have different products and different strategies for different types of markets.
As you've seen the rise of some, new companies, because, 3, 4, 5 years ago, Stern marketed themselves as the only pinball manufacturer left because you were, and for many years. As we've seen some independents come up, and we're talking, much smaller numbers than what Stern does, but there have been some technological advances that have been shown, some new ideas, some new thinking. Do you guys feel any internal pressure, or does it drive you to want to push the technology barrier, possibly beyond whether it's DMDs or layouts or anything like that? What's that like right now?
Well, I think what is interesting is it's exciting to see some of these boutique companies come out and make pinball machines. It shows that the hobby is strong and that there's potential for competition in the industry. Does it drive us technology-wise? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say that. We have some really talented people driving the technology here, from George Gomez down. And George Gomez works with a series of really talented contractors and people that are in here daily working on new technologies to drive pinball forward. The spike system itself that we've been working on for like a long time is more innovative than anything in pinball that's ever been seen before. And the spike system will be the future of pinball and will drive many, many cool technologies. And so I think it's kind of unfair to say that other people are driving that.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes and under the hood that are just going to blow people's minds.
I guess in my head when I'm thinking that, I'm really thinking the push, and I know George has been asked on record and answered the question, does Stern go beyond the dot matrix display?
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely we do. When that happens, I can't tell you. But yeah, we will be going beyond the dot matrix display. Absolutely. Our best men are on it.
Very good. One thing that I thought's been a really cool addition to what you guys are offering is in-house marketed and sold mods for the games. We saw stuff with The Walking Dead. We're seeing some really cool stuff. I think just put out on KISS maybe yesterday with toppers and armor. Talk about that and what the potential opportunities you think lie ahead in modifications.
Well, that's a really exciting part of our business that we're growing right now is the accessories and mods business and the parts business in general. We last year we brought on Paul Mandeltort, who is very popular, well known in the pinball community. His family, his father Mark and Nancy and Paul, they have a company called Marco Specialties, and who are the premier parts supplier in pinball. And we brought Paul on last year to help grow our parts business. And part of that is what I'm doing is I'm the director of accessories. And so what we saw was an opportunity here. We saw that as people are collecting, like we just talked about, more pinball in the home, right?
Yep.
And when you collect stuff, people like to be unique. Not everybody wants to have the same blue Corvette. So maybe they put rims on it, or maybe they put a stripe on it, or whatnot. And we were seeing this in pinball, right? We were seeing guys making toppers and shooter knobs and whatever. Really cool, creative stuff from the community. Really great stuff. Couple issues though. Some of the stuff was illegal.
Yeah, licenses are involved in some of these things.
Yeah, so intellectual property is a very serious thing, and I don't want to talk about any particular things on record here, but. It's a very serious offense to steal intellectual property. So, and also, a lot of these mods were designed after the fact of the game. Whereas, I thought, man, wouldn't it be cool as a consumer? I personally would love factory authorized mods that were designed with the machine in mind, and that were officially licensed, right? I'm a collector of all sorts of things. I collect guitars and toys and stuff. So like, I think to me that's really cool. And I thought, so I just put myself in the shoes of consumer, like, what would I want? And then, so we did some market research. We tested the waters with Walking Dead, had a phenomenal response, still a phenomenal response to the Walking Dead accessories. And now we're just really excited to launch these KISS accessories. We just, next week you'll see a new Whoa Nelly shooter rod that we did in conjunction with Pinball Customs, a guy out in Canada. And that's another thing too, is that this accessories business gives us an opportunity to work with some of these guys that we feel are top notch in what they do. Mezzle Mods being one of those companies. Tim and Kristen Mezzle, they're out in Albuquerque, who we just did our Walking Dead Tower mod with, and fantastic people to work with, and they just do really cool stuff. So and now we're doing some stuff with Pinball Customs. So I think it's cool for them to be able to work with us.
Very cool. Something that my company does, Taylor Guitars, is we offer a factory tour every day, and it's a huge thing for us. We have, I think,
Taylor Experience. I've been on.
Yeah, it's very cool. I've been reading now in the last few days that Stern's going to offer sort of a standard fare tour of the new factory. Is that true? Well,
yeah, and it's actually nothing new. We've been giving tours since the dawn of time. But I think now that our friend Jared here is letting more and more people know about what we're doing, he's touting the fact that we do give tours. They're by appointment, and we do tours daily here as well. Sometimes multiple tours a day. So it's a really cool place. We feel that Stern Pinball is a genuine Chicago destination. It's, you come to Chicago, you got to get a good hot dog, go to Wrigley Field, and we want you to stop at Stern Pinball on your way to and from the airport,
Absolutely.
It's something not to be missed.
How many games at any given time do you think Stern can be effectively marketing and selling? Like, is there too many at once, or do you have the timeline pretty spelled out?
Some games come in and out of production, right?
Yeah.
But we like to have a good roster of games. We have the capability to fluctuate what we're building at any given time. We build only to order. We don't build inventory, so everything we build is sold, right? And so that gives us a lot of flexibility, especially with our international customers. You'll have an export customer that might want a 40-foot container. He might, I can't remember how many games go in a 40-foot container, but it's a lot. And he might not want all KISS, right?
Yeah.
Or he might not want KISS and Metallica. He might want some Star Trek. He might want some Metallica. He might want a few AC/DCs, or whatever it might be, right? And it's nice to have that selection, especially for our export business. And it's great to have a great category, of games, a catalog of games. I apologize. Catalog of games that appeals to different people. Not every license or every game is going to be awesome for everybody. Not everybody appreciates the beauty of a Whoa Nelly, or the simplisticness of it and the different gameplay. Not everybody appreciates a Ford Mustang. Not everybody loves KISS or Metallica. So in that respect, we love having
Nate.
Yes, Jared.
Nate,
yeah, man.
I think I posted a pretty cool video on our Facebook page the other day as a factory tour, and for all the listeners out there, sorry for any motion sickness. Next time we'll make a Hollywood production out of it. But one of the cool things that I liked about that video that people can take away is if you're sharp-eyed, there are approximately 10 different Stern products in various stages of assembly or production in the video that you can see, whether it's cabinets being assembled or playfields being assembled or testing. And I laid them out there in the comments so that way people can see, it's not a one-trick pony or even a two-trick pony. We're literally talking about 10 different unique products with they all have their own separate price. And so And by the way, and Stern's not even up to full production capacity yet. They have a whole second assembly line that Jody was showing me when I was in Chicago. That Jody, that's going to be up and running. Well, like
that's been up for the past 2 weeks. Yeah,
2 weeks. Okay, so like there's a lot going on and a lot being built at any time, and there's just so much pinball going on in there. It's amazing. It's incredible.
All right, Jared. So
we're not just building them for fun; they're going places.
So, Jared, you teased a secret clue in this video that you're talking about.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. Did you find it, Nate?
I have not found it. I have only watched the video a couple times. I've been waiting for the folks on Pinside to find it for me, so I could. I
can't believe they haven't. I can't believe they haven't actually found it yet. And I'll tell you, listen, I'm a big fan of secret clues. I'm a big fan of detective work. I'm a big fan of encrypted messages and Easter eggs. I love that stuff. As a kid, I was always, trying to press the button on the DVD player to get to the secret menu, or I was always trying to, I love doing that. Love it. And so anyways, now that I'm in a position where I get to, put out content for Stern, sometimes there is going to be some secrets, and it's not necessarily, by the way, about the next title, because that seems to be like the number one thing people want to talk about. It might have something to do with something different altogether, or it may be something secret communications or whatever the case is. But if you invest your time into watching and reading the content on the Stern Facebook page, and you look at everything and you think outside of the box, you might find yourself sort of in this alternate reality where you could listen to me communicating to you without actually speaking a word to you.
That's heavy, Jared. That's very heavy.
I mean, I want to keep people up at night. I really want people to lay in their bed and stare at the ceiling and say, "What is he talking about?" I love it.
I don't know if you can answer this or not, Jody, but when I did tour the older Stern factory, it was when The Walking Dead was on the line, and I believe the code name given to that game at the time, was it Lunchtime?
Dinner time.
Dinner time, excuse me. Now that Kiss is out and we see it, was there a code name for Kiss in the factory?
Yeah, it was Star.
Star, okay, based on Star Child. Very cool.
Boom, right?
Yeah, I like it. That's cool.
You figure no one would associate that. No one did.
Probably they would start thinking Stern Stars or Star Wars. Oh, yeah, Star Wars, no kidding.
Star Trek.
Star Trek. Yeah, that's a good one.
Last
Starfighter.
Nate, my favorite thing is to watch speculation online and then know truthfully what is actually coming, and know that some of the things coming have never been guessed even once, even on accident.
That is cool.
It's way out. It's completely shocking. It's not going to be those, see, I told you it was coming. Like there are things in the pipeline that literally not a single person publicly has ever spoken a word about. And I'm so excited when we're going to hit them with that release, and they're going to be like, what? And it's going to be so fun. It's so fun. I love that.
Hey, isn't Jared fun?
He is, if nothing else, the right man for this job with his energy and enthusiasm. Absolutely.
Really is. We're really proud of him.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
Well, I definitely give kudos to the company for making the move. I think it's a great move. I think the increased, just the bandwidth and the manpower is going to lead to good things and a positive outcome. Is there anything else I can touch on with you guys that you'd like to let the listeners of Coast to Coast Pinball know before we wrap up here?
Just we're here. We're committed to the sport of pinball. We're committed to the industry of making pinball machines. We care immensely about pinball, and we care immensely about our products. Not everything we do is going to be 100% right. Not everything we do is going to be 100% perfect. But we genuinely care. We employ hundreds and hundreds of people here, and then thousands of people in our extended networks. And we're just really excited. We're just getting started, Nate. I mean, we're just getting started. We look at ourselves as a punk rock band still. And
I just want to speak for myself personally. That. Well, Jody covered it all from a company perspective, but me personally, okay, I work in Dallas. I live here in Dallas, and I work remotely. So a lot of people have asked me, did you move to Chicago? Are you up there? And I'm not. I'm 1,000 miles away here in Dallas. But it would be easier for me to only deal with a company that's in my backyard. And it would be easier for me to not sort of cyber commute. I didn't take this job because, I have some aspiration of buying a Ferrari or anything. I took the job because it's what I'm passionate about doing. It's what I love to do. And I think that Stern has got so many awesome things down the line, and I just knew that I could plug myself into that and we could be an even stronger team. And so I'm so excited to be a part of it going forward. And this increased level of communication is here to stay. So if you have a comment or a question, I'll see it. And that's, by the way, no matter where you leave it. I read everything. It's literally my job to do it. So anything that you want to ask, I'd love to talk about it with people. And if they want to know something or see something, requests are always welcome. We can't always do everything, but we'll do what we can. And pinball is here, and it's coming back in a huge way. And Stern's going to be the leader in that, and it's awesome.
Guys, that is awesome. I think that it's going to be a really good rest of 2015 and beyond. Thank you both for the time, and really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks for having us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, dude.
That was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed the time I got to spend on the Skype, as it is, with Jody and Jared. Thank you guys for listening. We'll get back to some news and other topics here coming up in the next few days. Really appreciate all the downloads from the Ed Robertson episode. Feedback's been fantastic. I think that this one is a great follow-up. Play more pinball. Enjoy yourselves. Talk to you later.